Hello and welcome to Inspiring People with me, Evie Amory, in conjunction with Switchbox TV. Today I am joined by the hugely talented Jordan Dawson. Jordan, welcome to our fabulous show. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And I'm so excited to be sharing today with you because I have followed your journey, I'd say, for the last decade, true to
Yeah.
say. Yeah. And you are incredibly inspirational and hugely talented. So, can we start off by saying, drum roll, Bachelor of Arts, fine artist, hyperrealist? Tell me a little bit more about your journey.
Um, I've always drawn since I was a kid. Absolutely loved it. Started drawing cartoons probably from the age of 3, 4, 5 years old. My dad's drew when he was younger. Um, so I guess I got my love for art through him. He's a jeweler, so I guess he's carried on in some way the design aspect of his life. My brother is also an artist who does illustration, so very artistic family. Um, I think through school, always loved drawing.
Mhm.
Um, I was just so fascinated by people's faces.
Yeah.
Um, and it was only until I got to university that my tutor asked me, "Why are you so fascinated in faces?" And it was the first time in my life that I actually questioned it. I always drew people, but I never knew why.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was overweight and I got bullied a lot at primary school for being overweight. Um, and I got diabetes in 2006, lost a lot of weight, probably half my weight. I went from 12 to 6 stone, very underweight.
Mhm.
But I saw it as an opportunity, like a second chance for me to be healthy.
Yeah.
Um, so I took that on board. I exercise all the time. And I guess that was the question I asked myself when I got to university, that I think it was through bullying that I was so fascinated in people's looks and how we judge people. I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
Let's not lie about it. Like, I could be sat on the tube and see someone's shoes, and there's something about it that you can see sort of who they are, like their personality.
Yeah, I do think there's definitely an external message
Yeah.
about who we are as a whole from
Oh,
from the inside. So I definitely can relate to that. And but then again, they say never judge by a book
book,
by its
exactly.
cover.
Cover. And that's what I looked at through university, was how we judge people based on first appearance. So I looked at tattoos, I looked at scars. Um, I even had the opportunity to do a life drawing of a cancer patient, which was amazing.
Yeah,
Um, and it was just one of those things that just took off from there. That um, through my bullying, I was so fascinated by that subject that I just carried it on. So I studied at Chelsea College of Arts for 3 years, and that was my project throughout the 3 years. Um, the reason I chose fine art was because it was such a broad subject. So you could do anything. You could do drawing, you could do painting, you could do sculpture,
mm.
and there was no limits on it. Whereas if I picked graphic design, I was just solely doing graphic design. Um, but that wasn't to say that in fine art I couldn't do any graphics. So that was the
It,
reason why I chose that course. Was it was just limitless.
and
Uh,
that's brilliant as well to just keep your ideas open. I
exactly.
know that you were really touched and impressed by the artist Kelvin
Okay.
Okafor.
Yeah.
And how did he impact
Um,
your journey to say?
I think it was during secondary school that I actually found him. Um, I just thought his attention to detail was incredible. Um, I do detailed drawings, but he's on a different level to me.
Mm.
He studies the photos or the people he draws for 15 to 16 hours, looking at how many like eyelashes they have or how many hairs in their eyebrows. And it's just he's just one of those people that is so down to earth, but you can see he's such a hard working person. Um, and thankfully, I actually had the opportunity to meet him and have a drawing class with him at the Tate,
Yeah, wow.
um, which only I think there was only 10 people. And I remember when the tickets went online, they obviously sold out in seconds. And I remember messaging the Tate saying, I've literally been inspired by this guy for years. Is there any chance I could get in? And they're like, we're so sorry, there was only 10 spots. It's like, no problem at all. But they were like, you're first on the list if anyone drops out. And I was like, it's 10, it's not 100 people, it's 10 people. Like, the likelihood someone will drop out is very unlikely. And they phoned me within an hour and someone had just cancelled. I couldn't believe it.
So that was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And I met him, did a drawing class, and it was just, I mean, it was only half a day, but the amount I learned in those 5-6 hours was just unbelievable. And I look up to him now, like we speak all the time on Instagram. He's just an amazing guy, and the work he's done is just phenomenal.
If there was anywhere that you could have an exhibition of your work, where would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the Maddox Gallery is obviously amazing. I mean, you know what? I don't even care about the location. I would just love my work to be somewhere that everyone can see. I wouldn't mind whether it was in a small gallery or a large gallery. Just that if people were passing, they could see my work and go, "Oh, who's done that?" I think that would be special in its own way. I think it's something I haven't had. I've done exhibitions and some of them have gone really well. I had one for the in the Oxo Tower in London, and that was for I won an award for my Conor McGregor drawing. That went up there for a week, and that was incredible.
Well, talking about the Conor McGregor drawing, so if anyone out there doesn't know what you really specialize in, you're a hyper-realist
artist.
So when I first saw your work, I thought, no, it's a photograph.
Yeah.
It looked so
I get that a lot.
real. So, and you work in pencil as well, which I know was a challenge when you were when you were studying, because they wanted you to work not just with pencils.
So when I was at secondary school, everyone knew I loved drawing with pencil. It was just, I think it was a lost art that a lot of people, obviously, like paint came into consideration, but I think there's a lost art for just plain pencil and paper. I think it's just such a lovely, just like my perfect art is just pencil and paper. It's just so simple. It's not common anymore, and I just love it. And at secondary school, my teachers were like, "Why don't you use something else?" And I was like, "I just love pencil and paper." And I can understand their thought process because they wanted me to experiment, which was fine. But when it came down to it, my final piece was always in paint. And it was like, why am I doing a whole project in pencil? And then I'm now being told to do a painting because they wanted it on the wall. And I was just like, I want to be doing pencil work. And left secondary school, did a foundation course at Camberwell. And my tutor came in the first day and said, "My name's Jeffrey. I'm your tutor for the year. See you in 4 hours." And everyone was like, "Wait, hold on a minute. That's not what I'm used to." And it was such a breath of fresh air that we were all just looking at each other being like, "What are we doing?" And then everyone just started being creative, because there was just no limit. There wasn't like, "Oh, today we're doing a project on shells, or we're doing a project on this artist." It was literally do what the hell you want. And it was just so like, it was life-changing, because people started drawing on the walls. People were like finding stuff in the studio that they started building stuff with. And that was the moment I was like, I'm going to draw with pencil, even though at secondary school I was told not to. Why should I not do the stuff I love? Anyway, a year later, I got an email from my secondary school saying, "Would you like to speak to the year 12s about doing a foundation course?" Took my work with, and they apologized. And that was the best moment of my life. I walked in and they were like, "We're so sorry we stopped you from using pencil, but good for you for carrying it on."
Which remains, in a way, it's your authenticity to your own work. But what is a hyperrealist artist?
It's someone who either draws from a photograph or draws from someone in real life, that has extreme detail. So it's not just a line drawing, it's something that almost as you say, almost looks like a photograph. And people say, well, what's the point? Why are you drawing something that looks like a photograph? Because I'm such a perfectionist, that's what I love about it, is people question whether it is a photograph, and I take that as compliments all the time. And yes, I've also had negativity saying you're a fake and blah blah blah, but I love it. I think it's such a wonderful thing to be able to create something that looks like something else by using a different medium. I think that's something I'm definitely proud of course.
Have you got any
Yes.
examples that we can have a look at?
So just a story before I show you these drawings. My career I'm going into now is customizing shoes and football boots,
Which we'll talk about, because that's also quite exciting.
we'll talk about that later. But the reason I'm bringing that up now is I got invited to the FIFA launch last year.
Yes.
And I had a list of very, very big football players that I was going to meet, and I thought, what an opportunity to draw some of them.
Yes.
And hopefully I could get them signed at the event. So this is one of them. Out here. It looks like stuff down page. So here is a drawing of a Brazilian legend called Kaká.
Yep.
Amazing that I actually got to meet him and he signed it. But yeah, this is a pencil drawing of him.
Amazing.
Which he couldn't believe either, but that's the sort of stuff I draw.
Yeah. And you know, I have just a slight adoration for Anthony Joshua. Did he have any?
Well, you say that. I've actually just sent off one to him because I did one about, must have been about 4 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And never thought I'd have the opportunity to actually meet him.
Yes.
I must have been at the theatre, and during the interval I was on my phone and Anthony Joshua uploaded something saying I'm going to be in Watford doing a signing. I think it must have been the next day or something. And unfortunately I don't drive, so I messaged my parents to say, can you please drive me? Like, I have a drawing for him. I want to, and I've been speaking to his manager, and it's never, like, they're so busy, their schedule's ridiculous. I thought there's no better chance to then just go to the signing and get him and give him the drawing. So I messaged his manager, and this queue there were thousands of people, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be here for hours, but it's so going to be worth it. And I messaged his manager saying, I'm here. And he goes, why are you in the queue? Come. So he literally took me out. He came to the queue. People were like, who's this guy? I walked to the front, and AJ's just sat there, and he was like, I've heard about you. David, his manager's been speaking about you. And I said, I've got something for you. Took out the drawing, and he couldn't believe it. He signed it, and I said, no, this is for you. I want you to have it. He said, why don't I sign this and then you do me another one? And I said, the chances I'm going to meet you again is very slim. I said, please have this, like, it's on me. Mm-hmm. I really want you to have it. And looking back on it now, I'm thinking maybe I should have taken the drawing back because he signed it.
And also, you didn't know that it was going to lead you
exactly
to something else that we can now talk about, which was your work with him.
Going back to picking fine art as a subject, I lived with 3 other artists during university time who studied graphic design, and I was always looking at them thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if I could learn graphics at the same time? I'm a very quick learner. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I get so many queries about people saying, can you do these graphics? And I'm missing out on money. And I'm thinking, God, wouldn't it be great to learn it? So I took the time out and I learned it, did like the basics. And then I was like, I need someone else. And I always ask my brother for questions because he's done graphics in the past. It wasn't enough. And I thought I need to find an internship that will allow me to grow whilst I'm learning. So fortunately, this this guy gave me a job. I was there for 6 months. I was literally the only graphic designer on the team, doing everything for them, from like business cards to website design, anything, like just the basic graphics. And then through that, I then got another internship where I was in a team of 15. And it was something completely different because I could bounce off other artists, and if I needed questions, they were there for me. And it was on that second internship, it was on a Friday night, I got an email. I got an Instagram direct message, and it was very long. I'm talking like 2,000-3,000 words, and I'm thinking, I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic, so reading that would have been a nightmare. So I thought, I'll leave it for now. I'll come back to it. Anyway, I'm on the tube home, and Wi-Fi pops up, and I get an email, and it's from the same people, and they're like, "Oh, we've seen you've opened our direct message on Instagram. We thought we'd email you." So I was like, "Okay, they've taken the time out to message me again. I should probably read this." So I'm reading it, and it's like, "We're from EA Sports. We've picked up your work. We've put you in front of 40 other artists. They want you. Are you available next Tuesday for a shoot?" So I'm like, this was, I think, my second day on this second internship, and I'm thinking, there's no way I can take a day off. Like, I've just started. And I sat on the tube home, and I'm thinking, EA Sports opportunity or this internship. And then I'm like, well, this is money that I need, and I don't know where this will lead me to, but it's also EA Sports. Like, I can't turn down EA Sports. Anyway, he was like, I messaged him and I said, "Look, I'm really sorry, I've just started an internship." He was like, "Let me phone you tomorrow morning just to see if we can persuade you." And I said, "It's not about persuasion. Obviously, I'd love to do it, but then I don't want to lose my job at the same time." Yeah. So he phones me the next morning. He speaks to me. He's like, "We're filming with a huge global superstar. We really want you." Turns out it was Anthony Joshua. And as soon as he mentioned Anthony Joshua, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to pull a sickie. I'm going to phone up my manager, and I'm just going to explain it to him. And he went, "F it, go for it. This is what we're here for. Take the job. Come back to us the next day, and we'll have a chat about it." And I can't thank him enough. Very special man to me, because he was almost like a father to me, and I'd only met him that week.
Yeah.
And we just got on so well.
You connected.
Shout out to Nick, if you're going to be watching this. I will send it to you. He was amazing to me, and I can't thank him enough for allowing me to go for that opportunity.
So going to see AJ, when you walked in, did he say, "Oh, it's you again"? Or
no,
when he met you?
Funny enough, so we went to his gym to film, and he was in no, it was in a different. It was in South London. It was a different gym, and he was doing another shoot. So he was in the ring, and we were like kind of like a backstage sort of thing. I don't know where, like a back room, and they're like setting me up. They mic'd me up. They interviewed me, did a bit of filming, and then they said, "Are you nervous?" And I said, "You know what? I've met him before. You know, when you meet someone of that high caliber, you know their vibe. You know how like they talk and everything." I was like, "You know what? I've met him before. I'm actually okay." And they were like, "Oh, you've met him before?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was a while back. He won't remember me." And they were like, "Let's wait and see if he does." I walked in, and he went, "Jordan, right? How are you?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "There's no way." And he's so humble. He's such a lovely guy. He asked about my family, asked what I was doing at the time. Great character. And we just got on really well. Did some filming for FIFA, and
so what did you actually have to do with him, though? Because I think didn't you put to paper his design?
Yeah, so it was for the FIFA 20 game, and they just brought back a game mode. Years and years ago, there was a game called FIFA Street, where it was like street football, really cool like designs, and they brought something back in FIFA 20 called Volta, which I think means rewind. Mm-hmm. And they wanted AJ to be the face of it, and they picked me to do the design with him. So we sat down, we did the filming. He was like, well, I like this, and we could put the lions in.
You designed the pitch with him.
Designed the pitch.
Yeah.
And that pitch worked so well that they actually decided to make it in real life as well. So not only was it in the game, they then made it in Shoreditch High Street, which was a 5-a-side pitch or a 7-a-side pitch, and they had all our designs up, which was incredible. And yeah, the fact that I thought the first time I gave him the drawing I wouldn't meet him again, then that opportunity came up. And then I did a second drawing, which is why I said I don't have it with me, is I've just sent off a new one to him.
Would you like to draw his son? Would that be something to do?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
And there's something in the pipeline of me customizing some boxing shoes for him as well.
Wow,
that should be super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So rewinding it back a bit, because I very much am a believer in when you look behind, all of the dots connect, and that is so relevant and so true for everything that you are describing and your journey and where you're at. But let's rewind a little bit to the time that you worked with Nike.
Yep.
And you started off literally just as a salesman?
Yep. So just being frank here, my parents had zero money. We never got pocket money, never got bikes, never went on holidays. It was a very tough stage. Me and my brother, I don't think, even thinking to this day, we don't know anyone that was in our situation. My parents were renting a house and going to a secondary school. Not saying everyone, but most people I was friendly with had the support from their parents. And they went on 6-7 holidays, which was fine. Like, it wasn't something, to me, I'm not a materialistic guy, but it was a different life to what we were living. And I've just grinded throughout life. I worked at Next. I worked at shoe shop, Clark's. I've just worked throughout my life, and that's just to help support my family. I pay for rent. I help them. And I was working at Niketown, in Oxford Street, Oxford Circus, for a good 2 years. And I was there, and I had people coming and going, like all my friends leaving, and it was just a stability for me that I had the money coming in. It was just a comfortability for me that I was like, I'm getting the money I need to get me through university, to pay for my rent. And I got stuck, and I had one mate who left to pursue his music career, and he came back 6 months later, and he's like, why are you still here? Why have you not pursued what you want to do? And I said, unfortunately, I don't have that pillow or safety net to fall back onto. I need the money. And I couldn't take that risk. And it did just get to the point where I was like, you know what, you have to take risks in life. And whilst working at Nike, you get given like uniform, you get given shoes, and I took it on myself. I mean, I've still got shoes here that I haven't touched.
I can see the boxes in the background.
So my mum will go crazy. I've got too many pairs of shoes, but I took it on myself to make a project where I was either ripping up parts of shoes and putting them into a different silhouette, or shaving down the sole at university and making the Air Force sole thinner so it wasn't as clunky. And everyone knew I was an artist at Nike. Everyone knew I was an artist, but I just never took it on myself to take that next step. Made a portfolio of all these works I did, drew all over them, painted them, whatnot. I just went up to Nike HR and said, look, I work in your Oxford Circus store. I'm an artist. I need, this is what I want to be doing. I don't want to be selling shoes. I want to be designing them. I want to create. And I was just expecting them to say, yeah, we'll keep you in mind for the future. Just a little ta-ra. And they said, oh, we've got an Air Force One campaign if you'd like to design it. I was like, oh, let me just check my diary to see if I'm free. So I basically designed an Air Force One campaign where people could come in, buy the Air Force shoe, and customize it. So we had like lasers. You could change the laces. You could put different swooshes on it. It was nuts. And we had celebs come in for them. I customized some footballers who made their England debuts, who are now superstars at the moment.
Have you ever seen anyone wearing your football shoes like while they've been playing a game? Are they allowed to do that?
So yes, so recently so the reason why I went into designing shoes was because I've collected shoes since I was a kid, and obviously I'm an arty boy. I thought, why not combine the two?
Mm.
So I went into customizing trainers, and then I thought, why can't I then take this to another level? And I'm a massive football fan. Like I live for it. And I thought, why not going down that route? So I started contacting footballers, whether or not they reply or not. If I get one, it will lead on to others.
Yeah.
And obviously I had the connections from the FIFA launch that footballers I'd customized trainers for. I messaged them. And some players have contracts to Nike, Adidas, Puma that they're not allowed to wear something custom because it's not what they sell.
Mm-hmm.
And other players aren't contracted. They might be supplied the boots, but they're not contracted and they're allowed to wear them. So that's what I've been doing at the moment, is customizing footballers' boots. They're playing with them on the pitch. I've just sent some to Ollie Watkins, who plays at Aston Villa, who likes them so much he actually doesn't want to wear them. He's having it displayed on his
yeah. And I think also there was one that was done for a certain artist, Alec Monopoly, as well.
There was great opportunity. Again, another brilliant artist. Just sent some Air Force out to him.
Yeah.
That was a lovely experience.
It's amazing. And I think aside from Nike, wasn't there also the time that you spent with Converse as well?
Yeah. So before I took my it was at the same time I took my portfolio, although I took it to Nike, I also reached out to Puma, Adidas, Converse. Converse is also a part of Nike. Nike bought them out. I didn't get any replies, and I thought, doesn't matter. Like, as long as I get one, that's fine. And obviously the Nike thing happened. And after Nike happened, Converse then contacted me, done stuff with Adidas at the FIFA launch, done stuff with Valess. So it's just all snowballed into different opportunities. Converse was really fun.
I love Converse. I'm a huge fan of Converse.
I've actually got the customs I did here. So this was me just like
amazing
customizing the shoe.
In the times, that's so cute, and you've also put a bit of color in there as well. In the times that we're in now, Jordan, has lockdown given you a different perspective of your art and how you view the world? And has it actually put you into another direction for your creativity, or have you focused on other things that you felt have sort of taken over from the art? Where are you at in terms of having had the lockdown experience?
First lockdown was very tough. I think because it was all up in the air and no one really knew what Corona was, and there was a lot of questions going about. Everyone was focusing on just buying food, staying safe, and that was a difficult period for me because I had no work coming in, like whatsoever. I had nothing.
Yeah.
And again, priorities for myself was keeping safe, but at the same time, I've got rent to pay, I've got bills to pay. And I'm thinking, if this carries up, how am I going to pay for it all? Thankfully, I just thought of customizing, like just to carry on and just see where it goes. I think it was just the drive of my childhood and thinking I was in a similar situation then, like, how am I getting money? How am I going to support myself?
Survival mode.
Basically survival. And I know everyone's in a similar situation, and that's kind of what helped me, was knowing I'm not the only person going through this. I then took it on myself to say, you know what, I'm just going to carry on what I'm doing, even though I'm not getting as much work in. I'm going to carry on, and hopefully that will lead on to other things. And thankfully, I mean, there was definitely a stage where there was a mental block. But I thought, I just need to carry on as I am. And as I said, you do one footballer, he then speaks to his teammates then speak to friends, family, and yeah, it's just carried on from there, really.
And if you could draw anyone, absolutely anyone in the world, who would that person be?
It's gonna be very controversial, but I think, again, it's going back to my childhood. Music for me is one of those things that, whilst I'm working, it just puts me into a different place. I can listen to music for hours and hours. I can listen to pretty much any genre of music, depending on what mood I'm in. But the person I've always looked up to, because he had a bad childhood, was Eminem.
Oh yeah.
Eminem had a very bad childhood, and you see pictures all the time of where he lived to where he lives now.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, very controversial, but I look at him and think he went through the troubles of what he did. And going into rap, being a white boy,
Yeah.
there's a lot of racial differences there. And I just thought, what an amazing guy to look up to. Like, yeah, there's a lot of swearing in his music, but when you listen to the lyrics,
I love his music.
I just think it's very powerful. And I think drawing him would be, I think that would be amazing.
So would you say he is a pivotal, inspirational influence?
Yeah, definitely an influence for sure. I think, as I said, the way he grew up being in such a bad environment. You look at the film 8 Mile, and it
What a film! What a film! I love the music from there.
It's just incredible the way he just like jots things down and then creates that.
Yeah.
For me is similar to what I do. Is I jot down ideas, like even if I'm like half asleep in bed and I'm thinking, oh, what could my next project be, or who could I contact? My brain's always buzzing, because I'm like, oh, I've contacted this footballer, he's best mates with blah blah blah, or I could contact him instead, and not instead, but him as well. And I just feel like there's a connection there, that I've always listened to his music, and everyone says it's really rough and swearing, and the meaning behind his music is just so influential.
I love his music, and I'm a different generation to you, totally. But somehow or other, we have to then got to find a way for you to draw him.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. If we have another interview in a year's time, and I wonder, who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely at the top of my list for sure.
Yeah, that's quite phenomenal. In terms of the footballers, sort of customizing for them, have you got anything secretive or lurking in the background that you've started work on?
I can't reveal, because it's one of. I mean, he's all over the news at the moment, which probably gives it away. But there is big stuff coming, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, hopefully the reveal will be soon. He's very slow at replying, so but yeah, just waiting on that, but very excited.
So if anyone would like to reach out to you directly to have something customized for them or for a drawing, how will we find you? How can they reach out?
So I have a website, which is www.jordandawson.co.uk. My Instagram as well is @jordan.dawson, and my email, which we'll put on the link as well, is probably the best way to contact me, those 3 avenues.
And if there was a younger lad or girl listening or watching this, and they wanted to start out there, but they weren't really being supported, what would you say to them if they were watching about their dreams?
Keep at it. I mean, I have such an amazing, and I'm so thankful for every single one of them, a fan base on Instagram. I get messages daily saying you're an inspiration. I look up to you. How have you got in contact with these people? And I'm talking like 8, 9, 10, 13-year-olds that are just messaging me. Keep at it. Don't let anyone tell you to stop. If you love doing what you love doing it, carry on. And one day you'll get that break. I just believe that if you work hard enough, there's people that go, oh, he's got all these chances and blah, blah, blah. I've worked hard for it. It's not something that's just, yes, I've had some breaks where like EA Sports have contacted me, but they've done that through looking at my work. It's not something that's just come across. And again, with the Nike stuff, is me taking the risk that I said I wasn't going to do, but I felt the need to. That helped me. And yeah, it could have gone the complete opposite, and I could have been left without a job.
Yeah, and it was free will because you had the choice to say no.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like, again, so cliche, but you only have one life. You just have to take risks sometimes. Thankfully, they worked out for me. But yeah, especially to the younger generations, I feel that there's a lot of pressure on them. I feel there's a lot of pressure on them, especially during these times. Again, with the pandemic happening, I think there needs to be some sort of like relaxation of like where they're going to be in life because they're only young.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have that love for something, just stick at it, because it's the best thing you could do. I think if you keep jumping from, oh, I don't know whether I'm doing this, or yeah, you'll have questions in life, the same as me. I didn't think I'd be a full-time artist, especially being at university where I have friends studying law, and you think, well, they're going to be a lawyer, and I'm studying art, and I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with this? I had to find that. That was something, that was the journey I've been on, is finding job for me,
your niche,
my niche, and thankfully I have found it, and I'm very happy with what I'm doing.
Well, I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Well, I'm amazingly inspirational. You're so young, so you're at the beginning still of your journey, so there's so much more to come. So
yeah,
it's I really appreciate the time that you've given to me.
Thank you for interviewing me. It's been lovely.
I've loved it, and carry on doing all your great work, and I'll be watching out there to see what else happens.
Thank you very much. Thank you.